Do incorporated businesses get 1099? My name is Nicole. I'm a tax advisor at Robert Holland Associates, and today I'm going to talk to you about just that. When can you expect a 1099 if you are a business? Is it something you should be receiving? What do you do if you don't receive it? And how do you keep track of the record keeping? As a little bit of a bonus, we'll talk about if you should 1099 the people you pay as well. But first, make sure you like and subscribe. Don't forget to click the follow so you stay up to date on our latest videos. Okay, let's get into it. Do incorporated businesses get 1099? Can they? Yes, they can. Is it something you should expect? No, it is not something that you should expect because it is not a requirement. The person that is paying you is not required to 1099 you. Even if you're not incorporated, you should not be counting your income based on what your 1099 says. You need to count your income based on what you received, the income that actually went into your pocket. That is what you should count on. And so that means if I'm an Uber driver, I don't need to wait for my slip from Uber. I should know how much money I have received. If you are incorporated and they gave you a 1099, great. No harm, no foul. If they didn't give you a 1099, great, no harm, no foul. You can just look to see in your bank account how much income you received. Understanding your numbers is really, really important. Who needs to 1099? Businesses are not required to 1099 other businesses. It is people that receive money over $600. Those are the ones that get 1099. And so if a business is paying a contractor more than $600 in the year, you should send a 1099. If you're paying another business, you're not required to send a 1099. This is similar to sales tax. If you're familiar with sales tax, right? If you're selling to another business, B2B, you do not have to include sales tax. There is no sales tax to pay because that business you are selling to is going to be the one that pays the sales tax as they sell it to the consumer. Maybe if they continue to sell B2B to whatever. But at the end one who sells to the consumer, B2C, they're the ones that pay sales tax. And so it's just the same theory. If you're paying somebody and they are a business, they're a whole entity, it is not a requirement for you to 1099 them, regardless of how much you pay them. But if you're paying an individual person and they are not a business, then you should be sending them a 1099. They may hate it because they don't want that 1099 because it means that they have income that they have to report that no taxes were withheld from. But if they have a good accountant, that's totally fine. And you should follow the law. And it's also really, really advantageous for you because you're telling the government up front you already have some expenses. From jump, you're letting them know, hey, I have some of these expenses. And so the government they already have a little bit of record keeping for your expenses. And so if you send a person, if you're paying somebody, you should really 1099 them. Really, really, you should. So, long story short, businesses, B2B, businesses are not required to 1099. That is not a way for you to use. It's not a method for you to use to track the amount of income that you have come in. That is not a substantial method. Meaning, if you get audited and you are getting hit for unreporting income and you're like, well, they never sent me a 1099, so I didn't report it. No, that doesn't count because you took the money. You got money whether somebody sent you a 1099 or not. Sorry, you're going to get in trouble. And not reporting income is a really big deal. Really, really big deal. And so if you're a business, don't expect the 1099. If you're an individual and you happen not to get 1099, even though they paid you more than $600, no problem. Still report all the income that you received. If you're a business paying people, should you 1099 them? If you're paying people, then yes, if you're paying another business, it's not necessary as it's not a requirement, and there's plenty of other things for you to be doing, like going out there and making more money. And so we don't need to waste time on things that we don't really need to do that's not it's not going to make you more likely to get audited or something like that. But if you're paying people, yes, let's go ahead and send them the form so that you can get all their important information. So you can send them a 1099 if you've paid them $600 or more throughout the year. It's not $600 per transaction. It is $600 total. To be fair, that number hasn't changed, and a lot of stuff with taxes change depending on the year and depending on the makeup of the government. But that $600 number has been actually pretty consistent for quite a while, that threshold of when you should 1099 people. How should you keep track if you need to send somebody a 1099? That's easy. That's bookkeeping. You just need to keep track of your books, keep track of the transactions. I would categorize people. I would prepare myself to send everybody that I'm paying individually a 1099. And so I would give them at the beginning of our employment, or well, they're not employed actually by you, but at the beginning of our relationship, I would send them a W-9. That is the form that they fill out, and they give back to you, so you have their tax information. You have their name, their EIN, or their social security, or whatever identification number they're using. It might be an ITIN or whatever it is. You have that, and you have the address, and you have the name. If their address changes, it's not that big of a deal, again, on your part, because they need to update their W-9. It's not you need to update their W-9, they need to update their W-9 and give you a new one. And again, they shouldn't be relying on a 1099 to report their income, as long as you're reporting your expense. Like, what you do over there is what you do over there. I'm doing everything right. Maybe aggressive, but right. And so you give them a W-9, as long as, so you'll have their name, make sure you spell their name correctly, and their tax ID number, and then whatever that current address is, and so that you're able to send them a 1099 at the end of the year. 1099s are sent out in January. It is very important that you make sure, if you are sending out 1099s, you send them out on time, because for the government, they think of 1099s just like they do think of W-2s and all of the stuff. And while it's technically not crazy important for you to send out a 1099, if you're sending it late, the penalties are really high. And if you're doing it when you don't even need to be doing it, like, why are you incurring these penalties? So, like, either you're going to be doing things clean or you're not. Like, don't make your life more difficult and more expensive because you're now late. So send your 1099s out on time. Take advantage of that, so you have a cleaner deduction, and then make sure that you're getting W-9s from people so you know how to send out the 1099s. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to us. There is a link in the description box. We'll be happy to set up an appointment where we can chat, answer the questions, or file your returns if you're looking for it. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Nicole. I'm one of the tax advisors at Robert Hall and Associates, and I will see you guys later.